and I was like, let's just listen to what Spotify feels is like kick-ass metal. And I'm like, let me see how kick-ass this metal genre is. And I listened to it and I'm like, nothing excites me.
Right.
It all felt very the same. It didn't feel extreme. And when I think of a metal band, I think of like over the top, extreme, like almost like hard to hear and like almost scary in a sense. And I'm like, I'm listening to everything and I'm like, everything is like pop with in this context of metal. And I'm not knocking, I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
there's nothing that's balancing this like extreme side of like
yeah. It's
of
safe.
yeah, it felt very safe, and it felt. I was like, and I clicked next. I listened to every song, and I'm like, okay, let me take a wild guess. It's going to go into this type of part next, and every band was doing a very similar thing, and I was like, man, like, where is the like extreme metal?
Adam, thank you so much for your time today in what I can only imagine is yet another gruesome PR stretch for you.
Yes, another one of those long days, another one of
Oh,
those long
yeah.
days. Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
how tired are you? Not just because of this PR stretch, but like this band for the last. I mean, this band has been going on for some time now, but in the
Yes.
last 5 years, let's say, you've entered in this crazy part of the roller coaster where you're just going, oh shit, nonstop. How are you doing?
Good, good. I mean, today's been fine. Today I went to the gym. I went into the sauna. Went into did the cold plunge. So I feel refreshed. So I'm
Great.
ready. I'm ready to start my day of talking about Lorna Shore.
There you go. Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. I'll try not to ruin that
No,
wonderful
you're
mood
good. You're
that you're
good. You're
in.
good. You're not going to. I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
yeah. It's been a crazy roller coaster to say the very least. Not as crazy as when the band wasn't as successful. I feel like now things are kind of like evening out a little bit. Now there's more people involved, so it's not as
Right.
hectic. And you know, now that we're all committed to doing this full time, it kind of a little bit easier in some degree.
Yeah.
Whereas back, I'd say maybe about like 10 years ago, we all had separate jobs. We all had to
Right.
do balance having multiple jobs as well as doing this full time, which was really hard. Now it's kind of like we're fully committed to Lorna Shore, so it's a little bit easier, but I guess it is a little bit of a roller coaster as well. So, but it's cool. It's
Yeah.
cool. Like, I can't really complain. And if I could, nobody would listen. That's what an Uber driver told me one day. So I'm honestly,
Yeah.
I'm stealing that, and I've been using that for the past like year and a half now, almost 2 years.
Good, good, good. You know, inspiration and wisdom is everywhere around
Yeah,
us. We just have
exactly,
to
exactly,
stay
exactly.
tuned for it. Awesome.
Yeah.
But does it, now that you talk about like, well, you know, there definitely were, let's call it different eras for this band
Yes,
already.
for sure.
Uh, for you as a, let's call it veteran member of this
Yes,
band,
exactly.
um, is it sometimes frustrating that people sometimes can forget that this wasn't an overnight sensation 5 years ago, but that
Oh,
there was 10 years of hard work that went
yeah,
into this?
it's so funny because like I don't forget that we have struggled, especially like myself and Austin for like a good period of time. Like I don't forget that we struggled. I feel like um part of that struggle I think is allowed us to exist today, and I think
Right.
that's been a big thing that I think a big grounding thing because you know you don't really forget what it was like playing local shows in New Jersey or like your
Yeah.
first few tours where like nobody came out to see you. Like you don't really forget it, and I know for some people, you may have heard about it yesterday, but not for us. It hasn't been something that happened yesterday. You know, it
Yeah.
might have
Yeah.
seemed that way, but for us, it hasn't been that way. So it used to bother me, but it doesn't bother me that much anymore because it doesn't change the fact that like all those past memories exist, and I think
Right.
those past memories have created what we have now. And if we didn't have that, I don't think we would have what we have now. Um, but I mean, again, I think for people that just find out about us, that's kind of the point of it. You're expecting people just to you want to get new fans, and right away
Hmm.
they're not going to be like become a new fan and become like acclimated with your entire history or whatever.
Right.
So like it is fine. I think the people that treat us as I don't think it's as common anymore. I think it was more so a few years ago. I think now people are more familiar that we've been a band for a very long period of time.
Right.
But yeah, I mean it used to bother me, but now I'm just kind of like it's all part of the journey anyway, so it's not as bothersome as it used to be or it can be, if you will.
Yeah. 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 No, for sure. For sure. Well, I mean, we see the discography there behind you in
Yes,
beautifully
exactly,
framed.
exactly. They're
It's
all
a good
back there.
reminder.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't forget about it. It's kind of hard to, but yes.
yeah.
I don't want to sound rude, and I know people take things that I say as being very rude, but I
Go
think at
for
the end of the
it.
day, I think for people that come in and out of the band, I think for me early on when I was in the band, I felt like I had to navigate minds and hurdles, and I can't do this and I can't do that, and I got to make sure I do this way and this
Mm.
that way, and it was a lot of like making sure everybody was happy, and in the process, I feel like I wasn't happy. So
Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah,
other
yeah.
members left, and it was like at one point it was just kind of like me, Austin, and Tom in the band. I kind of told myself like I'm gonna do what I want to do, and it's either like you're on board or you're not, because it's kind of
Hmm.
like I've been in the position where I've altered everything that I want to do to please everyone else, and then they just up and leave anyway. And I'm
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like, I might as well just do what I think that we can do, want to do, and whatever, and like either be on board or not. And not saying that's like as cut and dry as that. I'm just trying to keep it
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
point for this conversation. But it is nice knowing that people are adaptable with the band and on the same page as the band, but it's not like they're the people that are in the band are like the science experiment, like, oh, we could do this, oh, we could do that. It's more so like it's nice to know that we don't have limitations as far as music
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
concerned. It's like we're our own limitation in a way. So to me, it's kind of like it is on one hand nice to have other people in the band that are malleable and adaptable and like kind of they have a lot of talent and ability that we can do different things, as well
Hmm.
as it doesn't kind of stifle your creativity as an artist to be like, oh, I can't do this because so and so can't do this, or I can't do this because so and so can't do that, because I've been in
Right,
that
right, right.
position and it's not fun. So it's nice now that to having everyone around that um we're all a very talented group of individuals, and it's nice that we
Yes.
are on a very on the same page as far as the music we want to write. So it is nice that we're all on the same page. We want to do the same style of thing, and there's no like, oh, we can't do something like this because so and so can't do this or so and so
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And again, so it's not it is nice to have that ability, but it's not seen in that way where it's like, oh wow, we can have this Frankenstein thing. It's more so just like we do what we want to do anyway, and we're all on the same page, which makes it. I've learned that is the most important thing, is that everyone being on the same page as far as what the music you write. Because even if someone has the talent and they might not necessarily want to do a certain style of music or a certain
Right.
direction or whatever. They might be like, I don't want to do this, even though I can. I'm just kind of tired of doing this. And then you might be like, well, you technically can do this, but they might be like, I'm tired of doing this. I want to do something else. So even though they might have the ability and the technical capability of doing it, doesn't mean that they have the interest. And as of right now, everyone is interested in doing the same thing. So that just makes it easier, honestly,
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah.
anything.
So
So
if we,
hopefully that answers your question.
yeah, let's go down that road a little bit of like
Sure.
the no restrictions and kind of just letting, taking it to the next level. There's there's this thing on every Lorna Shore album that, that comedy movie moment where somebody's got just had a big gulp of water and they just spit out everything
Okay.
because they're like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right? And that moment always happens with you guys. I remember last album, I was like, I was listening to the press copy that I had gotten in preparation for an interview, and I think that moment happened for me with what was it? Um, in Into the Earth, I think it was,
Okay.
when like it was just that moment that I go like, holy shit, like
Okay.
I thought
Okay.
we were at 10. Okay, this band goes to 11. For
Okay.
this album, I think that happens already with Prison of Flesh, and like at like the
Okay.
6:30 mark when you do like that last round of breakdowns, and you just go like, holy crap, like I wasn't even expecting that anymore.
Hmm.
You say like, oh, we don't want to limit ourselves, but like how, for a band that seems to push the boundary all the time, like how organically does that come for this band today, or is that almost like a, is there like a battle plan or a blueprint that you go in and go like, okay, we've got some good stuff here, but we need to make sure we take it to that Lorna Shore level that nobody else can do at some point.
I think for me, I think the way I think about it, and this maybe hopefully I answer the question. There's a couple of things I can speak to. For me, I think people forget that we're fans of music. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think people forget that musicians are a fan of music, and like
Right.
outside of being in a band, we also listen to music, and we still actively listen to music. So, you know, I think a lot of times in the studio, we're just as excited about these parts as when
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
else
yeah,
hears
yeah.
them. We just hear them a year or 6 months before everyone else does. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So, um, to me, it's like I think when we write music, it's not some sort of like cognitive thing where we're like, okay, here's this whole like blueprint, and here's this whole thing we have to do. It's just more so if we can't even enjoy our own music from like just a listening standpoint, then how do we expect other people to? So
Hmm.
with a song like Prison of Flesh, and every song on a record has its own strength and weakness. And a song like Prison of Flesh was meant to be a song that's very over the top. And I like that about bands that I listen to where I'm like, okay, there's bands I listen to that I'm like, this band is so over the top, it's insane. I think it's awesome. How do we
Hmm.
replicate that? Because I think that's realistically as artists, what you're trying to do is just, at least for me, is you hear something you like and you go, how do I do my own version of it? At least that's kind
Right.
of what I'm thinking of. I mean, I don't know. That's what I've always done is like I like hearing stuff in other music. You get inspiration. You're like, oh, that's possible. How to do it in my own language, in my own way, in my own approach. And I think sometimes people forget that we are fans of music and we are fans of metal and like, and we just kind of want to hear, at least I'll say for myself, I just want to hear stuff that I enjoy and kind of create
Hmm.
it in my own way. And yeah, I don't know. There's not like I think if we're not entertaining ourselves, then it's not really worth doing. So we have to be like, we'll hear something and be like, this sounds awesome or this sounds good, and we're excited about it, and like the energy in the room is there with everybody else feeling good about it. But like if I felt good about it and the four other members in the band didn't, it's not like I'm like, okay, this works because like everyone in the band needs to sign off on it. Everyone in the band needs to be excited about it and
Hmm.
feel good about it because like we have to perform it, we have to sign our name on it, and like we have to go push this record, So we all have to agree upon it, which is hard sometimes. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, like we're still fans of music, we're still fans of metal, we're still fans of like hearing things, and it's kind of like we kind of do the same thing in the studio. If it sounds good, then it's like it's kind of worth keeping. And a song like Prison of Flesh to kind of speak on that is like I think that was from my standpoint, that was a direct response to the current state of metal. And I think about this moment, and we were having a writing session with our producer, just to kind of start the process. And I remember we had to drop off a rental car. I think someone in the band had a rental car, had to drop it off because they came in later on. Anyways, we had to drive somewhere and then drive all these to the studio. So we had like an hour drive, and I was like, let's just listen to what Spotify feels is like kick-ass metal. And I'm like, let me see how kick-ass this metal genre is. And I listened to it and I'm like, nothing excites me.
Right.
It all felt very the same. It didn't feel extreme. And when I think of a metal band, I think of like over the top, extreme, like almost like hard to hear and like almost scary in a sense. And I'm like, I'm listening to everything and I'm like, everything is like pop with in this context of metal. And I'm not knocking, I'm not saying anything's wrong with it, but I was like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that's balancing this like extreme side of like
Yeah. It's
of
safe.
yeah, it felt very safe, and it felt. I was like, and I clicked next. I listened to every song, and I'm like, okay, let me take a wild guess. It's going to go into this type of part next, and every band was doing a very similar thing, and I was like, man, like where is the like extreme metal band? We had to like listen to like 40 songs to finally hear like a Lamb of God song, where I was like, finally like a metal band, And I was like, this is kind of crazy that like there's no
Yeah.
metal bands on this metal playlist, where I would consider like from my standpoint, not to be like an elitist in a way, but like
Yeah.
from my standard of like where I feel like the metal genre was missing. And I'm like, a song like Prison of Flesh to me was like it. I would just want to write something that's over the top, that's aggressive, that's in your face, that's relentless, that almost like scares you in a way, which is why like we did a song like that, we did a video like that. It was just meant to be, here's an extreme answer to like kind of how I felt the metal state was in. And and I'm not knocking on any bands that are on it. I'm not knocking on any bands that
Sure.
sound like that. I'm just saying that for me, there was nothing that was like balancing the whole thing. Because if every band sounded like Prison of Flesh or something like that, it would also get very stale, and there would be nothing
Of
else that.
course. Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
absolutely.
it goes either way. I'm not saying that like writing a song like that is the only way you can write music. I'm not saying that. I know that's not what my interpretation is. It's
Yeah.
just like I feel like I just wanted to have something that like scratches an itch that wasn't being scratched. To put it that way.
Yeah.
And
Headline: Adam says Lorna
yeah,
Shore's only metal band.
exactly. No, people will take
No worries.
everything I say.
Yeah,
People take everything I say and they twist it sometimes,
yeah.
unfortunately. But
No worries. We
it's
won't
my
do that.
it's being from New Jersey and my delivery sometimes can be a little blunt and a little harsh. So I know I gets misinterpreted. But the main thing I feel like for a song like that specifically was like I feel like there wasn't an itch being scratched, and like I was saying, like we're also fans of music, and I feel like I was like, there's something that's a void that's being missed, or that I feel like I'm not getting from the current state of where music is at, or what's considered heavy metal these days. I'm like, where is all the heavy metal bands? I'm like, I just pictured being a young kid and I'll never forget this. I was like 6 or 7 years old, and I was over my cousin's house, and he had a poster of like an Ozzy Osbourne poster and like a Metallica poster. And I was like, I was 6 or 7. I'm not familiar with seeing. It was like Ozzy like hitchhiking to hell, and I'm like, who is this person? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and my cousin's like, oh yeah, he ate the head off a bat, and I'm like, what?
What?
I'm like 7 years old. I have no like, and then I remember seeing like it was like I think it might have been I forget what Metallica poster it was. It was just like some poster, and I was like, what is this stuff? This is like terrifying
Yeah.
to me as like a kid. Like this was like scary, and I'm like, where's all the scary metal bands within metal, which like I feel like was being missed, and I feel like that's where like a song like that came from. Was just like I love that sort of like the thing that I always say that my band's probably tired of me say is like I want it to be the scariest ride at the amusement park. Like I want to be like you go like I want to be the scariest roller coaster that you want to take. That like the
Yeah,
ride
yeah.
that you want to take that like you have to tell people that I went on this ride. And I feel like that's kind of what I've always want. That's what I always strive for. It's what I always like. There's just something about that extreme threshold because I get bored so easily, and I'm like, there's something about that I enjoy of just something
Hmm.
being over the top and like just kind of ridiculous in a sense. And yeah, that's specifically where a song like that comes from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, there's the broader rock and metal scene could be shaken up now.
A little bit, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, there's a replica of a Thanos glove behind you as
Yes, there
well.
is. Yes,
So
there is. It's
let
yeah.
let's say that that was a working glove, and you could just snap anything into existence or out of existence. What would you do to snap the metal scene into a more exciting place?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like I already kind of feel like we do that in a sense. We've shaken things up as much as people think we don't shake things up. We definitely have shaken things up, especially like
Hmm.
when we go play some of these like we just did a festival run in Europe,
Yeah.
and it's a very broad metal and rock run, and you're playing with so many different bands, and I feel like there's not many bands like we're playing with some legacy bands. Like we've done, you
Hmm.
mentioned Iron Maiden. We've done festivals with Iron Maiden. We've done festivals with like Judas Priest, and then also we just played a bunch of festivals with like Korn and bands like that. I'm like, we don't sound anything like any of these bands. I heard feel like to a degree we don't even belong on some of these stages. So it's kind of cool that we kind of get put on like.
Well, you're not only just belonging there, you're headlining these
Yeah, I
stages
mean
soon
it's
enough.
crazy
You're
because like
headlining festivals where Cannibal Corpse is supporting you now.
I know it's kind of crazy. It's like that's really shocking to me. Um, but like we played like Hellfest in France, and we played like right before like A Day to Remember and like Emotionless in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
White and
yeah.
like Linkin Park. I'm like we don't fit in that same conversation. So I really feel like in a degree we shake things up. I think like I don't know if I could add anything or take anything away. It would just be like the lack of open mindedness. I feel like there's that within the community of just like there is a lot of people that are stuck in their ways. And again, I can fall into that trap. I'm not saying I'm impervious to it, but I feel like just the lack of open mindedness of like you can like all these different bands, and it's not like harmful to like a band. It's not
Right.
harmful to like a completely different band. Like as much as I was mentioning A Day to Remember, Emotionless in the White, and Linkin Park, like I grew up liking those bands. I still enjoy those bands to this day, and I play in a band that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Like you're allowed
Hmm.
to, you can like both, and again, I think that I don't believe in like a guilty pleasure. I think it's only guilty because you make it guilty. But
Right.
it's not wrong to like what you like. And I just wish that open mindedness was more prevalent. I think it's becoming more prevalent than I'd say when we started this band. But I feel like I wish there was a lot more open mindedness within the metal construct, and because I think there is something there for everybody, and I think we can find you could find something if you look for it. That's kind of what I wish. But I do think we shake things up. I mean, and there has again on a lot of these festivals, a lot of times we go on play these shows like we're just they're a band that doesn't belong, you know. And it's kind of cool because people, and the thing is that like a lot of these bands will accept us and like support us and like watch us and stuff like that, which is really awesome. It's really like humbling, to see like we played a festival in Austria and. Corey Taylor and some members of Slipknot watched us, which was like, this is crazy that like this is happening, So it's kind of cool that you get that like kind of support from your peers in a way, and so it's just kind of cool to have that. And as much as like the bands itself, I feel like are more open minded. I wish like sometimes fans were a little bit more open minded. So.
And now that you mentioned Corey Taylor and Slipknot, I agree with you that you have definitely shaken things up. Were you the first band that would be labeled deathcore? No, but the way that you do it is different. And Slipknot might just be, before you guys, the last band that on a sizable, a scale, if you will. Because I mean, I don't know what kind of crazy stuff is being thought of in a basement somewhere right now, but that really, right. And a large scale, brought a truly new sound to the table. Because you could say that Slipknot is a new metal band, but Linkin Park and Slipknot have also very little to do with each other. Yes. And you guys kind of also like did your own thing. And that doesn't mean that there's not a ton of amazing new bands that came out, but in the last 25 years, not just in metal, in all music, we're kind of doing the same cool things over and over and over again.
Right.
One song for me on this album that kind of brings everything that you guys do well together, and it's fast becoming my favorite song of all time, is In Darkness, which I thought was really cool
awesome
song.
That makes me feel really good because that's one of my favorite songs on the record. I think it's like it's an awesome song. So
yeah, solo on that song is also so nice.
It's like one of my favorites. It's one of my favorite solos I've ever done. Like it was definitely took me out of my comfort zone, and it was definitely like I was very much just like I'm unsure about how this feels, and this feels kind of weird for me. But then like I was having this like I don't know two different thoughts about it. First I was like this feels cool, but I'm like is this like too not like me at the same time? So it just kind of I don't know. It took me a while to come up with.
But that's your ethos, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. But that's definitely one of my favorite songs. I think it's definitely a favorite song on a lot for a lot of people in the band. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna see it live. That's what I'm hearing you say.
I hope so. I really truly hope so. I definitely really do like that song. I always forget about it because like we've been focusing on shooting other videos and performing other songs. So like we've just kind of been focused on that stuff. But I remember when we had a lot of those parts. I was really excited about it, and then once we put I put the solo in, I was like, oh wow, actually this song feels really good because like because like before the solo was in there, the song had just had like a point in time in the song where it's just like emptiness, which was kind of weird. So now actually once I finally put a solo in, it just started like feeling more complete as a song. So I was like, oh wow, this is actually like really cool, and it kind of brings the song together in a sense. But I do love that song. It's one of my favorites on the record.
Yeah, I love the discrepancy kind of between like the emotion of the solo, if you will, and the craziness of the song, it just works really well, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I'm glad you like it because it's I've done a bunch of interviews, and it's always nice when you hear. I honestly from one interview to the next, everyone mentions a completely different song, which to me, as a person writing music, it feels really good because it's not like everyone mentions the same like one song. It's just like I did an interview I think last week it was, and someone mentioned a completely different song, and I was like, that's really awesome that like you mentioned something different, and then now you're mentioning a completely different song, and I'm hoping later today someone else mentions a completely different song because it's just nice for me that like that's kind of what you want. I think as a person writing music, you just want to have a more broader spectrum of people to find interest in your music. So it's really cool when I hear that, because especially for me, as I'm definitely more biased because it's one of my favorite songs on the record.
You may have not been the first deathcore band out there, but you completely changed something, and it has now been, I don't want to call it copied, but like in your wake, we're now also seeing like, in Belgium, When Plagues Collide, in Germany, Mental Cruelty, like other bands that are doing cool stuff that also have embraced that symphonic element that you guys have kind of elevated your sound with. Does that mean, to wrap us up, that for you, like bucket list stuff, and I don't think it has happened before. If it has, I apologize, but would like, playing the S&M show with like a full orchestra, is that a bucket list item for the band?
Yeah, I think it's something that we want to do. I feel like we always talk about it, and then you get more people involved, and then it starts taking the fun away from it. So then it's just like
Right.
cool. So it's something that I would love to do. I've seen um, Dimmu Borgir do it.
Yeah.
Metallica's done it. I think there's been a lot of bands who've done it,
Oh
and it's
yeah, for
really
sure.
awesome. It's really cool, and the fact that like extreme bands have done it and it sounded awesome. It's like why not us? That would be really great. Um, and to me, it's just really cool to see that like the way that we've been inspired by other music that like kind of opened the doors maybe for other people. I'm not saying we have or haven't, but maybe we have in some indirect way or direct way. But it's just really cool. Like I'm not really bothered by it. I'm kind of flattered by it, to be completely honest,
Hmm.
because like I don't walk around thinking that like every idea we've come up with has been organic and we didn't get it from somewhere else. Like I wear my
Right.
influences on my sleeve. I tell everyone that I will tell bands that I go on tour with that I ripped the song off, and they'll be like, "You know, you didn't." I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna keep telling you that." Like when I met Nurgle from Behemoth, I said I've ripped you off on every song, and he's like told me that like we're all just borrowing ideas anyway from each other, and I was like, "Cool." So then I'm gonna keep ripping you off. And and I think, and not that saying that people do that for us, but I don't walk around. My point is that I don't walk around thinking that like we're the first to ever do it and no one else is allowed to do it.
Sure. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
it's just like you kind of want to kind of create something so other people can latch onto and hopefully make their own thing out of it. So if we have inspired other people, cool. If we haven't, that's also cool. You know what I'm saying? It's not a big deal for me, but to me, it's nice that we could keep this whole thing of metal going, and if it's on our shoulders at some point in time or at any part of the journey, it's really I'm really honored and flattered because like other people have done that for us, other people have carried the torch in a way, and whether
Hmm.
we are or aren't, it's totally cool. It's just I don't know. It's just like I have a deep love for the metal subgenre, and I grew up just being a fan of it, and I found a lot of pros about it. So to kind of be to be a person in a band that's kind of you know on the forefront, if you will. It's really nice and really flattering and really humbling, and that's just really awesome for me. And it just, I hope there's going to be other bands that can do the same. And if it comes from stuff that we've done, and then like they've taken what we've done and like done it 400 times better than we ever will, that's awesome. I'm excited about that. It's not like I don't think we're the first and last band to ever do this, and nor do I ever walk around thinking that. It's just really cool. It's really cool for me. And yeah, to answer your question, yes, it'd be great to do it with the orchestra. But if we don't do it, that's also just as cool. It's sometimes just nice to go on stage with me and the four other band members. We can enjoy all the space and not have to worry about bumping into a cello or a tuba.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No room for improvisation at that
no,
point.
I can't. Yeah, because sometimes I usually go on stage and I don't think about what's going on. It's
Right.
nice to have all the space instead of worrying about where is the piano.
Yeah. 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 We're gonna see you play everywhere and headline for the
Awesome,
next 2 years,
awesome.
I'm sure.
I
So
hope so.
it'll be fantastic, Adam. This is a really cool album. Like I said, I love In Darkness, but it was hard to pick one. Thank you for your time. Really
You pick,
appreciate
you
it.
pick, you picked the right song.
There you go. Have a wonderful rest of the day and the rest of the PR cycle and all that kind of good stuff.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
hope you
Enjoy
have
the
a
rest of
great
your day
time.
as well.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.